let's talk about the Miura Fold. The problem before some Japanese engineers was they had a satellite to launch. And once the satellite was in orbit, it was to be powered by these large flat solar panels. Now, you can't launch a satellite into space with these big flat solar panels sticking off the side. So there had to be some way of folding all this up. But once they got it into space, they had to be able to unfold it and make it nice and flat to its useful state. So let's look at that for a second. Here is the solar panel in question. You could make it fairly small by just folding it in half a few times. There you go. That's lovely. There you go. There you go. Okay. So then, you launch that into space. And then once it's into space, you have to unfold it. But this presents a problem, doesn't it? Because to unfold this, I've got to unfold it in this direction. Now I'm going to unfold it in that direction. Okay. Now I'm going to unfold it in this direction. Now I'm going to unfold it in that direction. So you've got to manipulate it several different ways just to get it back flat to its useful state. There must be a better way. There had to be a better way. And indeed, there is a better way. An engineer by the name of Miura, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that name. I mean no disrespect. I have yet learned to speak Japanese. He came up with this, and it is now called the Miura Fold. Okay? And the idea is very simple. Here we have the same size solar panel, all folded together, but now, in order to unfold it, you simply have to pull it in one direction, left to right. No manipulating this way, that way, the other way, just from here to there, from here to there, from there to there. Boop. Isn't that absolutely satisfying? Yes, it is. There we go. So this is what we're going to learn to make today. Okay? Now, if we take a closer look at this, we've got not a bunch of rectangles like we'd have if we just fold it in half several times. We've got parallelograms. These are a bunch of tiled parallelograms. This is called a tessellation, and that's what makes it work. Look at that. Again, very satisfying. If you travel in Japan, you can get road maps now that are folded this way, which I think is absolutely delightful. All right, so good. We're going to learn how to make that. So you will need 2 sheets of paper, a pencil. Now, for the past 40 plus years, had you asked me, what's your favorite pencil? I would have said the Dixon Ticonderoga HB2. Beautiful pencil. Love it. Great. Now, a few years back, I discovered that they now made the Dixon Ticonderoga HB2 in black. Look at that. Very sharp. Same pencil, but just black. I think that just looks lovely. Like that eraser there. Look at that. Beautiful. It's a good looking pencil right there. But just recently, I discovered the Dixon Ticonderoga HB2. And this is not an ad for Dixon. I bought these pencils myself. I'm not getting truckloads of pencils shipped to my house for saying on this. This is just really is a wonderful pencil. And if you're at all interested in pencils, as I am, this is the way to go right now. The Dixon Ticonderoga is triangular shaped, so for one thing, it doesn't roll away like pencils often do. Right? And also, it feels like it's coated with like a light rubber. So it just feels good in your hand. It's a delight. And I'd recommend you learn to sharpen your pencils with a pocket knife. You'll get many fewer lead breakages that way. So there. So you need a writing instrument, just a pencil. And then you need something, a pair of scissors or something flat that you can use to make your creases nice and tight. I'm just going to be using the non-working end of this pen. Okay. So start with one of your sheets of paper. We just need a rectangular sheet of paper. I'll be using letter size. Any old rectangle will do. If you're in Europe, A4 will do just fine. We need to break this piece of paper, divide this paper up into fifths, and then later sevenths. Fifths and 7s. If you should happen to have a piece of paper laying around the house that's already a 5 by 7, well, that's great, but who has that? So in order to facilitate the breaking of this into 5ths and 7ths, I could get out a ruler, I could measure that, and then divide that by 5. No, I think that's too tedious. That's what your other sheet of paper is for. So start with one of your sheets of paper. And we're going to begin by folding this in half. Now, as always, make sure your corners and your edges line up before you make that crease. There we go. So just folding it in half. It's better to be accurate than fast. Unfold that. Now take what is now for me the bottom edge and fold it in to the halfway mark. Line that up. Make sure the edges are lined up. There we go. That's not a very good fold there, is it? No, there we go. That's much better. Good, good, good. There you go. Go. Unfold that. Turn it around. Do the same thing to the other edge. Fold it in to the center. All right, there we go. There we go. All right, wonderful, wonderful, good, good. Unfold that. Now take the same edge you just had and let's fold it into the quarter mark. Unfold that. Let's turn the piece of paper around. And there we go. Unfold that, fold that right there. Now, unfold that, and I'll take this same edge here, and you're going to fold it all the way over to the 3/4 mark. And same, take this edge here, fold it all the way over to the 3/4 mark. There we go. And I'll just take that and mash it flat. So what we've managed to do is we've managed to break this piece of paper up into 8s. Good. And this is just going to be my measuring device. And I can just set this aside and come back, use this anytime I want for all sorts of different projects. Because this will let me take just any sheet of paper and break it up into halves, frankly, 3rds, 4ths, 5ths, 6ths, 7ths, and of course 8ths. Yes, so that's what we did this for. So this other sheet of paper will represent our solar panel. And what we want to do is we want to fold this accordion style in 5ths. So I need to now divide this edge up here into 5ths, and that's what this piece of paper is for. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this corner of my paper right on that crease right there. And then I'll line the other corner on a crease 5 creases away. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I just line this up like so, and like so, there we go. There we go, right there. Good. So I've got this corner on this crease and this corner 5 creases away. So you see, if I use these inner creases as a guide, I now have this broken up into 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5. Each of those creases represents a 5th. Okay? So just to get my starting fold here of 1/5, I'm just going to take this bottom edge here and I'm just going to fold it over, and I can use those creases as a guide. I will start with this crease and finish with that crease. There you go. Now that distance right there should represent a 5th of my edge, so I can just get this out of the way now. And let me complete that crease. So I will carefully line up the edges and gently crease that across. Now all of these creases here, I'm now going to give it the thumbnail treatment. I'm going to run my thumbnail along there because I want that crease nice and sharp. There we go. There we go. So there, that represents 1/5. So turn it over, and using that fold as a guide, let's fold it up another 1/5. Again, edges, corners lined up. And there we go. Fold it down. Now take the crease you just made, which is this one right here, and give it thumbnail treatment. Crease, crease, sharp, 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 sharp. Okay, good. Turn the paper up. Do that again. 1/5. 1/5. There we go. Lovely, lovely. Take this crease you just made. Thumbnail, thumbnail, thumbnail. Lay it flat, and now take this edge you haven't folded yet, and we'll just fold that straight up to that side right there. And crease, and crease. Okay, okay. Now if you just sort of loosely pull that apart there, let's get some terminology down. When we have a fold that peaks up like this, that is called a mountain fold. A fold that goes down into the paper, that's called a valley fold. So you see I've got 2 mountain folds, 2 valley folds. Mountains, valleys. Flip it over, same difference. Mountains, valleys, mountains, valleys. There you go. Beautiful. Now, do yourself a favor right now, and I'm going to go back and reverse each of these folds. Just fold it. This one was folded mountain. I'm going to just make it a valley. Okay. And again, crease it. I'm only doing this to make my life easier for the next phase. So, crease that. Crease that. Good. This is a mountain fold. I'm making it a valley. Crease, crease, crease. I believe that was, nope, I missed one. There we go. This was a mountain fold, making that a valley. Good. So now we're back to this. Okay, good, good. That's all good. Everything's good. Lovely. You've got a nice strip now representing a 1/5 of that edge. Beautiful. We now need to break this up into 7ths. That's right, 7ths. So again, we use our trusty dusty piece of measuring paper here. And to get 7ths now, I'm going to put the corner on the edge of the piece of paper. And I'm going to put this at the corner, 7 creases in. About right. There looks like. Good. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, we don't need to mark all of these. I just want you to mark a couple of them. We're going to mark this one here, which is 1/7 in. And then we're going to mark the first 2 here. So 1/7, 2 sevenths, 1/7. Okay, good. Now, just get that out of the way. Now, imagine now you have a line. I'm going to lightly pencil one in, but you could just eyeball it yourself if you want, whatever. You know. So this square right here represents a square that's 1/7 of the length by 1/7 of the length. And then take this edge of the square here, the one I've just drawn in, and we're going to break that up into thirds. There you go. So this mark here, 2/3 down, that is the mark I'm looking for. So we found that 1/7 straight down, 2/3, that's the point right there. So take this corner and fold it over so it points right to that mark we just made, and then crease that there. Now, you can make this fold deeper or shallower. I'm doing it this way because you'll find that this will pretty much make everything nice and compact, and everything will fit at the end. If you make your folds different, that's perfectly fine. You might find you have to cut off some excess on the ends there. This way we won't have to, we'll avoid that. And if you could actually figure out what this angle is, this represents distance that's 2/3 of 1/7, and this would be 3/7 or 21. You could break that up into a unit of 21 and 2, each representing 1/3 of the 7th. And anyway, you can use trigonometry and take the arctangent of that and find out this is about 12.5 degrees. Okay, but again, you can make that deeper, shallower. I think you'll find if you do it this way, it's going to work out very nicely for you in the end. Okay, so there we go. So now this is where you need your folding help. So take your scissors or pen, whatever you're using, and give that a nice tight crease. I mean, you just can't not make it tight. No, there we go. Good, nice tight crease. Good. Now take this flap, you just fold it over, and fold it back. And when you do, you'll see the marks that you made. And good, yeah, we should be pretty much spot on. Now, when we fold this, for the rest of our folds here, we want to make sure that when I fold this back, that this edge that's about to be laid down here is parallel to the one behind it. So I want to make sure that this edge is parallel to that. Parallel to that. And that looks pretty close to me. You can just eyeball it. You don't need to get too carried away here. That looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to finish that crease and then really crease it just as sharp as I can get it right there down on that. There you go. Good. Good, 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 good. So this edge is parallel to that. So now when I take this and fold this over, okay, I want to make sure that this edge is parallel to this edge, parallel to the one behind it. Okay, so let's see how there we go. Looks to be, again, I'm just going to eyeball it. Again, there's no need to get too carried away here. There we go. Okay, good. That looks pretty good to me. That looks pretty good. Now, you'll find as we make these folds that the back edges are sort of lining up. But I would discourage you from using that as a guide to make your fold, because if you're even slightly off here, that is only going to get more exaggerated as you go along. We're just going to focus on, every time I make a fold, make the edge that's about to be laid down parallel to the one behind it. So now flip the whole thing over. I'm now going to fold this. And again, I want to make sure that this edge is parallel to this one right there. Parallel to that one. Okay, let's see. That looks pretty good, I think, right? Yeah, it looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. I'm going to take that and again, use my folding helper here. And crease that nice and tight. And now I'm going to do the same thing here. Again, I want this edge to be parallel with that. So, well, that looks pretty good. All right. So crease that and now give it the old. There we go. All right. It looks like I got room for one more. I'm going to fold this. Again, I want this edge to be parallel with that. Good, 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 good. All right, get those out of the way now. So here we go. This is what we've managed to get it down to so far. Lovely. Looks very nice, I think. So now, let's turn it into something special. So unfold this completely. Now, if we look at this portrait style, you see I've got these folds here, which are straight down the length of the page. Mountain Valley, Mountain Valley. And then I've got these folds here, which because of the angle we folded this at, gives a zigzag pattern. So this is where we get our tessellation of parallelograms. So what we're going to want to do is I'm going to fold this top course back like so. But when I do, you'll note that this fold right there, you can ignore my pencil scratchings. In fact, I'll erase that. It looks like it might visually might be distracting. Okay. This little fold from there to there, you'll note, is a mountain fold. This is a valley fold. This is a mountain, this is a valley, this is a mountain. I'm going to make all of those mountain folds by folding this back. Now, the only way I can do that is if I collapse this as I do it, because those zigzags are going to try to force the paper together, which is what I want. Okay. Now, what's going to work against you are these length folds, these folds down the length of the paper, because right now, before I make that fold, come on, I'll make that fold. There we go. This is a mountain fold. These are valley folds. When I fold this back, okay, this needs to become a mountain fold all the way down. This becomes a valley fold, mountain fold, valley fold. Good. So you get your length folds working for you. The zigzag should largely just fall out on its own. There you go. If you're fighting those zigzags too much, then this is where it can get frustrating. Okay? Just carefully sort of crease those individually. Okay? If you made nice sharp creases in the preparation, they will largely pretty much fix themselves. So what's important is that as you fold this back, collapse the paper at the same time. That's what's going to make it work. So let's open this back up. So flip it over. We're now going to take this second course and fold it back on the zigzags. Now, this was a mountain. I need it to be a valley. This was a valley. I need it to be a mountain. Good, good, good. This was a mountain. It is now going to be a valley. And this was a valley. It is now going to be a mountain. And there you go. I just managed to get my second course folded over. Good, along the zigzags. Flip it over. Now let's take this and fold the third course over. Again, don't fight these zigzag folds. Work on your straight line folds. That's what's going to make those zigzag folds come together for you. There you go. See, look at that. It's just going to get easier and easier as you go along. Flip it over. Let's fold this over. Once again, don't fight the zigzags. If it doesn't look like they're folding where you want, focus on these straight mountain and valley folds. There we go. There we go. That's the ticket. Good. Turn it over. Let's take this. Fold it down again. Hello, hello, hello. Mountain fold, valley fold, mountain fold, valley fold, mountain fold, valley fold. There we go. And one more. Turn it over. Take this last one and fold it over. Yeah, sometimes you start to tear the paper here. Okay, just be careful. Come on, come on, come on. Become one with the paper. Remember, the paper's your friend. It wants to do, it only wants to please you. It's like a puppy. There you go. So work with it. Be gentle. Okay, good. So here we go. Now, if you've gotten this far, you are now done. This is our Miura Fold. So now, instead of clumsily unfolding the solar panel this way, that way, that way, and that way, you'll find that on one side you have a flap that points down. The other side you have a flap that points up. Now, we are just going to unfold this by pulling just in left to right direction. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Tell me that is not eminently satisfying. Lovely. Lovely. Now, before you run out and show this to your family and friends, do it a few times to get those folds to cooperate exactly where you want them to. Look at that. I never get tired of this. So there you go. That is the Miura Fold. Wonderful. I hope you made it through there. Thank you so much.